Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope you all had an amazing Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, well, I hope you had an amazing week. So today I figured I would again go over what I ate this week. This week we have been really working on cleaning out the fridge and freezer and pantry and making dinner with what's in there instead of going and making a whole meal plan and then shopping for it, because as we all know, Christmas drains our budgets, and so we really needed to keep our food bill as low as possible for the rest of this month. Plus I just wanted to go into 2021 with just a clean fridge and just a clean kitchen and pantry. So the first thing that I decided to make this week was these barbecue cauliflower wings. I made the buffalo version a couple months ago, and I figured I could try the barbecue version this time. They worked out okay, but I don't know if I'm going to try them again, mainly because of some problems that happened later. But for the batter, I just added 2/3 a cup of flour, along with some mustard, paprika, Worcestershire sauce, soy milk, salt, and I think that's it. I mixed it all and added soy milk until it was like a thick batter consistency, and then I dipped the cauliflower in that, and I put it on a wire rack on top of a cookie sheet. And I forgot to spray the rack, so it all got stuck to it, and I think that was just the problem. I did bake these at 450 for about 20 minutes, and then I made a simple barbecue sauce and coated them in that, and then put them in the oven underneath the broiler for about 5 minutes, just until the sauce could kind of turn into more of a glaze. And then after that was done, I took them out, put them in that leftover barbecue sauce again to get them really dripping in the sauce, and then just let them sit for a couple minutes while I prepared the rest of my sides. And then, like I said, I kind of made a barbecue sauce to go along with them. I say kind of because I started out using a barbecue sauce. I used a Sweet Baby Ray's one, the no honey one, because if you get the one without honey, it is vegan. I kind of based the barbecue sauce around a recipe that I remember making back when we used to live in Texas, about a year ago. Maybe a year? Was it a year ago? I can't even remember now. But it basically just has barbecue sauce and then mustard, sriracha, paprika, salt, pepper. I added garlic powder and some maple syrup because I really was feeling like a sweet, spicy barbecue sauce, and this was so good. I didn't actually measure anything because I'm really bad about that. I don't really measure, and I should probably start, but oh well. And then I just served it with a side of mixed fruit and cooked corn on the cob. These were both in my freezer, and I decided to put them as a side so that way I could just clean them out. And then the next day I just grabbed the leftover stuffed pepper filling that I had previously froze. I don't quite remember what was in that recipe, but I will find the video where I made it and then put it down below, so if you're curious you can watch that. And I just warmed it up in a saute pan with just a little bit of water instead of oil, because I'm trying to get away from the processed oils. And then I put them in lettuce cups, and we had stuffed pepper filled lettuce cups, and it got rid of the stuffed pepper filling and the leftover lettuce that I had in my fridge because I had no other salad ingredients, so I knew I couldn't make a salad with the lettuce, so I just chose to make the lettuce cups. And then I just served them with some sauerkraut that I had hanging out in my fridge and some of the leftover green bean casserole from my vegan side dish video. And that was dinner for this night. So this night we decided to make one of our favorites. It's called Sukuma Wiki. But I just decided to make this because I had some leftover spinach and leftover kale and no other salad ingredients like I just said. And I did have some frozen petite diced tomatoes. I think I had like a half a can left from a recipe that I had made previously a couple weeks before. And so once I saw the spinach and the kale and the tomatoes, I knew instantly that I was going to make Sukuma Wiki. So I basically just chopped up an entire onion and then started sauteing that in a little bit of water. And I cut up a whole head of garlic. So I just minced that up and started sauteing it in a little bit of water. And then once the onion and garlic were cooked, I added the greens, and I completely forgot to cut up the greens, like to cut them into smaller pieces, because I'm used to doing this with frozen bags, and so I've never used fresh kale and spinach. So the frozen bags, you always get like the chopped spinach and the chopped kale. So this time it was already in the pot by the time I realized I had forgotten to cut it up. So we actually had to take scissors and cut them up with the scissors while it was in the pot, while it was sauteing. But it all worked out in the end. So once my kale and spinach had been cut down and it had cooked down, I went ahead and added the tomatoes and then about a cup of the cashew sour cream that I had made. That was what was in the blender in the very beginning shot. And then I just stirred that and let it cook through until everything was heated through and the flavors were all combined. And then I added salt and thyme because I feel like the thyme is a really, really good addition to this dish. And this is one of those dishes, like the saltier the better. And then it's a Kenyan dish, and it's traditionally served over a starch of some kind, like mashed potatoes or like ugali, which is a Kenyan flatbread of sorts. And I went ahead and did what I always do, and I made a batch of brown rice in my Instant Pot and added that into it, and then I served it over naan bread this night. I didn't realize that naan bread apparently isn't vegan. Apparently it has eggs in it, which I didn't realize. So I'm just gonna have to make my own naan bread from now on, I guess. So that was just a mistake on my part. But I had the naan bread in the freezer for probably a good 4 or 5 months, because I bought it for a recipe and then didn't end up making that recipe. So this was the day before Christmas Eve, and we had been shopping for like 9 hours, and we were told that when we would get home we wouldn't have water until the next morning. So I just decided to make something easy, which was grilled cheese and tomato soup, because it didn't require any water. And then this picture is from Christmas Eve. I had a bag of leftover sweet potato waffle fries, so I just cooked those. I had some leftover tomato paste and onions in my freezer, so I just thawed that out and made my own spaghetti sauce, and some leftover bow tie pasta in my pantry. So we just had a spaghetti, corn, bread, and sweet potato fries. Because we went shopping again this day and we ended up spending like 6 hours. So I was not in the mood to make anything extravagant. So tonight's dinner stems from wanting to try something new, but at the same time not having a lot to work with. So I don't have a specific recipe, I'm just kind of going off of what I've seen. So I have some celery and carrots and onions and mushrooms, just trying to clean out the fridge and freezer. And then of course I'm making curry. So I've got curry powder. I've heard ginger goes really well with the curry. And then I've heard that curry is also supposed to be spicy, so I've got some cayenne pepper and some sriracha. I'm going to put it over these lentils. I've got some garlic and some potatoes, because I heard potatoes go in curry, and then some coconut milk that I previously froze, which is why it is in a mismatched container. I only needed like a 1/4 cup of it, and so I just froze the rest of it because I didn't want to get rid of it. But this is thawed out. And, oh, and then I have some chickpeas. So I'm gonna make like a chickpea
curry, chickpea potato curry over lentils, and I'm hoping it'll work out well.
So I basically just peeled and cut up the potatoes, and then peeled and cut up the carrots, and then cut up the rest of the veggies, so the celery, the onions, garlic, and mushrooms. And then I sauteed everything until it was soft and like the onions were cooked through. And then after those were done sauteing, I added my chickpeas and then stirred it, waited a couple minutes, and then once everything was done and soft, I added water little by little until I got kind of like a soup consistency. Oh, and then I did add my spices, so I added I think like 2 tablespoons or 2 teaspoons of curry powder, and then like a half a teaspoon of ginger, and then a half a teaspoon of cayenne, and a couple squirts of sriracha, and a bunch of salt, because I like salt. And then I just basically waited for it to boil, and then I just let it simmer until it was kind of the consistency that I wanted. I added a little too much water in the very beginning, and so I couldn't quite get it as thick as I wanted to, so I did end up having to put like the lentils in to let them soak up the water instead of putting the curry over the lentils. But I mean, it's really no big deal. And then I did end up adding the entire container of coconut milk. I think it was like maybe a cup or a cup and a half. And then I added some extra sriracha. I think I added maybe like a tablespoon extra of sriracha once it was done. And then I added maybe like a teaspoon or so of curry, and then like a quarter teaspoon extra of ginger or something like that. And this was actually pretty good. I was really surprised by how good it was, and I'll probably be making it again. And as always, I wanted to thank you for watching, and I hope you stick around. I hope you all have an amazing week, and I will see you next video.